this Mamdani guy, the guy in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't agree that this should be this massive coordinated campaign from both sides to make sure that he doesn't get into power.
Yeah.
Because you don't agree with him. Like, I think a lot of the stuff he's saying is ridiculous. Like using New York City funds to pay for transgender surgeries for people who can't afford them. Like,
I'm a nay on that.
yeah, but it just sounds nuts. It sounds like you're only going for that nutty vote. You want that nutty vote. But what is this? Are we allowed to disagree? So I disagree. I don't support that. I don't support a lot of the stuff he's saying. The raising of taxes, I think, is going to be really problematic. But I'm not an economist. But what is this game we're playing? Is it the people get to vote? Because the people voted, and they voted, and he won the primary. So it's supposed to be the Democrats get behind him, and then it's the Democrats versus the Republicans. Or are we doing something different?
No, the people get to vote, but if they vote wrong, then the powerful might have to come in and let the people know that they have erred and they're,
But it's a unique time to see a power struggle.
Look, and I should, I guess, preface by saying, first of all, I find this race to be a fascinating microcosm of where we're at politically in so many different ways. And I should preface by saying, I am the most free market capitalist libertarian guy. I don't believe in socialism at all. Most libertarians are communists compared to me. Like, I believe in less, whatever government you believe in, I believe in less than that. So I do not agree with Mamdani's, any of his economic policies. There is something, though, that you just can't deny, where it's like, okay, look, first of all, you got this young guy who's kind of the anti-establishment candidate. He's an immigrant. He's a newcomer to politics, a newcomer to being a citizen of the country, however you feel about that. His campaign was laser focused on one issue, which was the unaffordability of New York City, which, if anybody at all is familiar with New York City, that is the issue of New York City. It's the issue for 99% of the people who live in New York City. The top 1% in New York City are doing great, but everybody else is just struggling to get by. You're either rich or you're struggling in New York City.
Right.
And the prices have gone up dramatically in the last few years. So he just ran his whole campaign laser focused on that. Then the establishment comes in and they run Andrew Cuomo, the disgraced former governor who murdered old people in nursing homes, who got, had a Me Too thing, which I don't know how legit that was, but got driven out in disgrace. Governor Lockdown, representing the failure that just wrecked this city, is who. And then what did they try to hit him on? It was Israel. They thought that was his weakness. It was, dude, that debate was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
So bizarre.
It's like, imagine picking, it's like, it's literally like if you were fighting like Islam Makhachev or something like that, and you went, I'm going to attack his wrestling. Mm-hmm. That's where I think he's weak. And you'd be like, wait, what? No, like, that's his strength. What do you mean they thought this, they'd go, they bring it up and go through all the candidates. They go, he hasn't even pledged to go visit Israel.
Well, they were all saying that was the first thing that they would do once they became mayors, go to Israel.
We'll go to Israel.
They all said that. And he said, I'm going to stay here.
Because I'll stay here in New York.
Take care of New York
He goes,
City.
I'll talk to Jewish people who are right here in New York City. I don't need to go to Israel. And then the funniest thing to me.
But that might have won him.
It helped. Well, they actually thought that pointing out that this guy, which, by the way, the mayor of New York City has nothing to do with foreign policy anyway.
Right.
But they thought that pointing out to everybody that this guy doesn't carry the baggage of supporting the war party, but we all support the war party, was going to win over liberal New Yorkers. Like, how out of touch do you have to be? And this is, Jude, I got to say, just something that's so fascinating about the whole broader Israel-Palestine debate discussion is that he goes at one point, he said that he's like a one-state solution guy. And for people who follow this stuff, there's some people believe in a two-state solution, some believe in a one-state solution, some believe in the status quo, which is just like apartheid forever or whatever. But he goes, I think Israel has a right to exist as a state with equal rights for everyone. Like everybody gets equal rights. And they tried to make that out to be like an evil statement, which was so hilarious to me that there's one guy goes, I believe in equal rights for all. And they went, Nazi. Look at this Nazi with his equal rights for all talk. Anyway, Nobody, it just had no effect on anything other than to just be like, oh, he also doesn't have the baggage of supporting this genocide, which is very unpopular. So, okay. And so anyway, it's just like, well, he's focused on the actual crisis, which is the unaffordability of New York City. They're talking about supporting this war, which has nothing to do with the role of the mayor anyway. And it's just like, you look at it, you can't believe that that's actually what they tried to attack him on. And so, yeah, he won.
Well, I think they're terrified of young people that are popular like that.
Yeah.
Like a young person who's a really good speaker, who's popular, who has ideas that, look, if you're living in New York City and you're struggling and someone comes along and says the problem that you're having is rich people are making too much money and we're going to redistribute that down to people, that sounds really attractive, and there's a lot more of them than there are of the rich folks, and they'll vote them in.
Yeah, well, that's right. And especially there's a reason why, socialism is becoming so attractive to young people. And I think it's like what I was laying out before. They can't afford anything. There's no path for them to get into the ownership class.
It's not just that. It's the looming fear of AI taking away all jobs.
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it as well.
My kids talk about it. A lot of the kids that they go to high school with talk about it. I talk to college kids that are talking about it. I was talking to this guy about it. He's like, I really don't know what to do with my life because it feels like everything's going to be taken up by AI. That's a crazy place to be. Like you're